everyone, can you hear me? Hi Barbara. Hi Lynn. And you can hear me loud and clear. Brilliant, thank you. Hi Caroline. So we've got Lynn from the sunny Costa Blanca and we've got Caroline from Canada. Okay. And I'm here in Derbyshire and it's sunny and I've been out on the practice range with Hannah watching her practice and I've got a headache and I've only been out just over an hour. So she's brought me home so I can do this live and she's gone back to do a bit more practice on her own. Hi Barbara, hi Lisa, good morning to you. Hi Leslie. Okay, so I'm going to give it a few more minutes because I know I normally say I'll go live at 6, but I just like to pop on and make sure everything is working. So let me see if I can find me. Hi Thea. So I'm red-faced, I've got a headache and I can't see anything without my glasses, so I've got my glasses on. So this is lockdown life. What is it, about 9 weeks now? Oh. Anyway, at least we're managing to get out on the golf course with Hannah, so. But that's tiring in itself because I walked round last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and Sunday. And then this week I've walked round Monday. She played with somebody else on Tuesday and Wednesday. And she's played with that same person today. So I've been most days. So Thea is in sunny South Derbyshire. Okay, I'm in High Peak, so I'm not sure. Am I North Derbyshire? I don't know. I'm rubbish at geography. Hi, yes, I'm here, Caroline. Hi, Tony. Leslie's on the south coast of England. We've got, is it Gail? Sorry, I'm trying to look over there at the chat. That's why I keep looking that way. Montana, USA, welcome. Barbara, thank you. Do you know, I've done YouTube lives in the past, but a long time ago, and I just used to do an odd one, you know, when I had some time or if it was quiet in the house, when Hannah used to be, you know, at school. But when we went into lockdown and people were messaging, asking me questions and things like that, that's why I decided to start doing the Sunday ones. And I thought I'll get the machine out and I'll just make. Nothing really planned on Sundays, to be fair. And as you know, I've done, you know, some of the canvas projects and I've covered some of the kits, the rhinestones, piercing, that kind of thing. And then the Wednesdays developed. And I think the Wednesdays are a good way for us to look at the software. So it's great that, you know, I can share how I do things. I am not an expert, honestly, by any stretch of the imagination. I've just played with this type of software for many years, covering various electronic cutting machines. So I just share how I do stuff, and if you can find a better or an easier way to do it, great. But that's what this is all about, because I do get lots of questions regularly, you know, either via YouTube, I get them via my blog, I get them on Instagram, asking me all sorts of questions. And that was kind of how the Wednesdays came about, really. So, you know, we're all in it together, aren't we? So if we're all helping each other, that's brilliant. So let me catch up with what you're saying. So Tony's saying you're in Somerset. Patty is in Westfield, Indiana in the USA. I mean, it's brilliant that you all, you know, give time up in your day or night or wherever you are to join me on a Sunday and on a Wednesday. It really is. Because obviously we're in different time zones, aren't we? I mean, you know, Wednesday's 6 p.m. for me here in the UK, and Sunday is 5 p.m. for me here in the UK. And I know some of you are watching, and you're at all different, you know, hours of the day, which middle of the night, some people, aren't they? You know, it's just brilliant, really. But right, let me just have a quick catch up with what you're saying, and then I'll tell you what I've got in mind for you tonight. Hi from balmy London. Hi, Denise. Yes, you are in North Derbyshire. Okay, I thought I was as far down as you can go. I thought I was, because I know when Hannah plays for Derbyshire, nobody wants to come over to her club because they all think it's so far away. Yet, you know, we travel 2 hours to get to clubs in Derbyshire for her to play. So Victoria is saying from Augusta, I love your accent. Oh, thank you. My accent is a Manchester accent originally. That was where I was born and bred. But I've lived in High Peak, Derbyshire for, oh my word, I think 1982, something like that. No, 92. 92, 2002, 2012. Yeah, about 28 years, something like that. Dawn, I'm just trying to catch up on the comments. So I've got, oh, hi, Pamela from Lincolnshire. Dawn Johnson is asking me, what machine did I start off with? The very first machine I ever bought, Dawn, was a Craft Robo. And Cricut was massive at the time. But when I bought my Craft Robo, Cricut was all on those little cartridges. And I'd seen a Craft Robo, and I knew that you could use it with software. And I just thought it was a little bit more versatile. At the time, I didn't want to be restricted to cartridges. So that's why I never went for a Cricut. I'm not knocking the machine. I think it looks great. And that Cricut Maker with that rotary blade for fabric, I think is genius. I really do. It's a toss-up, isn't it? I love the fact that our machine has the scanner. I think that's genius. And I love the fact that the Cricut has that rotary blade. So I'm not knocking the Cricut at all. I think it's fab. But at the time, I just decided to go with a Craft Robo. And that would only cut up to A4 in size. Although you could cut vinyl directly off the roll up to, I can't remember, quite long. So it was the Craft Robo, and they had software which was a little bit limited, but that's how I got into Inkscape and started using Inkscape, because I used to be a member of a forum at the time, and a lot of people used Inkscape, and that's where I learnt the bit I know about Inkscape. And then Graphtech, who were Craft Robo, heard about me, and they contacted me and asked me to start making samples for them. So I used to make card samples, you know, like the shaped number cards and that kind of thing. And when they did, you know, like craft shows, they would put my makes on display. And then I kind of wanted to cut bigger, and there wasn't an option for the Craft Robo at the time. So I changed to a Puzzles that was able to cut by 12 by 12 or 12 by 24. And that was a different type of software. Similar, all this electronic cutting software all basically works the same. You just have to work out their own little ways. So I went to a Puzzles, and I had a Puzzles for quite a few years, and I loved that. And then I saw the ScanNCut, and the minute I saw the scanner, I thought, that's good. So that's it. I went to a 600, then a 900, and now I've got the Disney machine. So a long answer to a short question, Dawn, but there you go. Hi, Ellen from Kent. Right, I'm just going to catch up on the hellos and then we're going to get started. Tracy, 3 a.m. in Australia. Oh, my word. This is what I mean. You know, what are you doing, lady? Go to sleep. It's on record. You can catch it up. Mandy G. Hi, Ashley. Lovely evening. Yeah, it is. Lynn saying, love my lives, always learn so much. Oh, thank you. Well, I hope you learned something tonight then. Hi, Karen. Gail, 11 a.m. in Montana, Wednesday morning. Okay, yeah, so we're 6 p.m. Wednesday evening. Denise is saying, just clarifying, balmy as in weather, not balmy as in crazy. Don't worry, it's fine. Victoria, I had an awful time trying to cut fabric, even using the stick green mat first. Tried new blade, awful. Okay, well, Monday just gone, so what are we on? Wednesday, 2 days ago, I did a Makers Meetup live on Zoom for makersuperstore.com, and we cut fabric this week. We made a project. It was a pre-bought tote bag, and I used one of the designs from the machine and I cut some letters, and I can't remember whether I've put it on Instagram or not, but I will do. If I don't do it tonight, I'll try and remember to do it tomorrow. And we cut fabric. I'm going to, in one of the Sundays, I'm not sure whether it's going to be this Sunday or the Sunday after, but I am going to try and do some fabric. So again, I probably won't have anything planned. It'll probably literally just be fabric, you know, with some kind of iron-on applique on the back, and you know, just cut some shapes from the machine. I still only have 2 mats for my SDX, so I have a standard mat and a low tap mat. And to be perfectly honest, at this moment in time, because I'm so busy, I don't want to apply that high tack adhesive support sheet to one of my mats, because if I do, then I'm down to 1 mat. So I want to wait until I buy a new mat, and then I'll give over one of my old ones and use the high tack support sheet, and then I'll be able to maybe show or see how we go about cutting fabric without anything on the back. But if I do fabric over the next week or two, it'll be in a Sunday night live, but I will be using like the iron-on applique backing. So if anybody's got any thoughts or comments on that, either leave them here in the chat and I'll try and catch up with them. The only thing is, I think the chat disappears once the video is rendered to YouTube. So it might be better if you wait till the video is completely rendered, because once I end the live, it takes a couple of hours for the video to render and be up there, I think, permanently for people to watch. And I don't think you can leave any comments in that time. So if you leave me some comments, maybe later tonight or tomorrow, if you've got any thoughts on fabric. Right, so I've got that one. Victoria's saying, I think I'd love a rotary. Same, I've asked. I'm on it. You know, I have asked, honestly. I mean, I've got no sway with anybody. I can ask makers and I can ask them to ask the question. And I've even emailed Brother to say, you know, the Cricut's got this rotary blade. I'm sure you could come up with one for the ScanNCut, but the comment I got at the time, I think, it was a couple of months ago, to be fair. They didn't have any plans at the moment, but they didn't know. But, you know, who knows? But yeah, I think that would make it complete if we could have a dedicated, fabric mat with a rotary blade like the Cricut maker. That would be perfect. Hi, Charmaine. So Dawn, you started with a Craft Robo light as well, yeah. And then didn't that go to kind of like the silhouette or something like that now, which I think equally looks great. I don't think there's a lot in them, to be fair. I think it just depends what you want to do, what kind of crafting you want to do. I mean, like I say, the Cricut Maker with the rotary blade is fab for fabric from what I've seen. But I wouldn't necessarily buy a Cricut Maker just to cut fabric. I love our ScanNCut with the scanner, so I can't see me ever, you know, letting that feature go. Silhouette is very similar. You know, that can do print and cut, but we can print, you know, and then scan it and cut it. So anyway, I'm digressing, aren't I? Sorry. Right, where are we up to? Hi from Southern Illinois. I have grandchildren due this week, so embroidering a quilt. Oh, lovely. I've been doing a bit of sewing recently. I don't know if you've seen my posts on Instagram, and I am actually thinking about maybe doing some kind of a small quilt. Oh, that sounds fab fabric. Yeah, okay. Can you use, I think that, is that meant to be Material Magic for material? I believe you can, Leslie. I've never used it. I think, is that the one that makes it quite stiff, a bit like paper, and then it washes out? Maybe wrong, but I think that's what Material Magic is. Yeah, I got you now, Material Magic. I'll keep checking back. You always have something great to see. Right, let's get going. So, two things first before we start. Right, you should be able to see. Oh my word, my mail's popped up now. We don't want that. Give me 1 minute. Right, you should be able to see my Canvas Workspace page. I can see it. I'm watching it on my phone, so I'm assuming that you're just going to see my mail pop up there now. But yeah, so you should be able to see my Canvas Workspace screen. Now this is Canvas Workspace online. And the reason I'm just showing you this first is I've had several questions since Sunday when I showed how to do those boxes, and I said you can do a search and you can filter. I've had quite a few questions, and somebody also asked it in the Zoom class I did on Monday. So Canvas Workspace online. Yes, can see it. Fab. Thank you, Lynn, for letting me know. So Canvas Workspace Online, the way to search for things is you come down here to the bottom. You should be able to see 3 icons. Alan's saying, hi Ashley, signal not good, but got you on boat today. Okay, right. So Canvas Workspace for web, that's what I'm in now. Just telling you, that's just so you know. To do a search in the web-based version, you can come down here to this icon at the bottom. Okay, can you see where my mouse is? Bottom right of the screen. Thea, don't worry about it. Several people have messaged me and asked me. So, okay, bottom right of the screen in the web-based version is filter. If you click on filter, this is like your search box. In the box here, if you just type what you're looking for. So when I was saying that I'd searched for boxes, I literally came in here and I typed box and said okay. And then when you do that, it will bring up anything that has got box in the name. And this is where I found the projects which I put onto the USB stick, which is what I was showing how to do on Sunday. So here's the candy box. And then I also had this hydrangea box, but I just never got round to doing it. I like to try and keep the lives to about an hour, and I ran out of time on Sunday. And then the other one was this one, the Father's Day. So that is how you do a search in Canvas Workspace for web. So you come to the filter icon, bottom right, and then in your box here you put what you want. So if you want to work with felt, type in felt and say OK, and it will bring up any projects that are in here that have the word felt in their name. So that's how to do it in Canvas Workspace for web. So I'm just going to close that down, and then now I'm going to come to Canvas Workspace for PC or Mac, because this is what I'm going to be using tonight. And when you first open up this program on your computer, you have this box and your canvas map behind, and here it's called search. So you just do exactly the same thing. It will come up with pre-installed words if you like, but again, just type box and it will bring up the same box projects that are in Canvas Workspace for web. So in Workspace for web, it's filter, bottom right. In Canvas Workspace for computer, it's search in this box that pops up in front of your canvas map. Okay, so I hope that clarifies that. So let me just see what you're saying before I move on. So found the search today, see it, never saw it prior to today. Charmaine, oh, why I didn't know. Oh, wow, I did not know you could search. Yes, you can in both. As I say, Charmaine, it's filter in the web-based version and it's search in the computer-based version. Leslie said she searched for flowers and nothing came up. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so I typed flower, Leslie, and these are the things that are coming up. Don't know if that helps. Victoria saying, OMG, another lesson learned. Did you not know about the search, Victoria? Don't worry. Right, so tonight, let me show you. I've got a little bit of a document here, hopefully. Just need to open this document because I've got some information on it for you. I thought if I put it on the screen, you'll hopefully see it better. Okay, so you should now be able to see that document. Victoria, I was at first, but then I went to the computer-based version. Okay. So on the screen, these are the elements that I'm going to be using. So it's a Dingbat font, available from DeFont, and it's called Janda Flower Doodles, and I'm going to be using the capital letters I and K. I just thought if I print this out, you can maybe either take a screenshot or take a picture with your photo, or you can just make a note. Okay, and then the font that I'm using in Canvas Workspace for computer is called Brussels, and that is a font it's a Canvas Workspace font, so you should be able to find that in your list of fonts. Okay. So this is just some information about what I'm going to be using tonight. So hopefully you've all got that. And I'm just looking at Victoria's questions and wondering, I've probably missed some of the questions, so I'm not sure if Victoria, if you've got your questions answered or not. Can you hear me now? Okay, should be back now. I don't know what happened. I just saw someone's comment saying no sound. Just let me know if it all looks okay. I don't know why it went to no sound. Leslie's saying yes, Caroline's saying yes. You can hear me now. Right, okay, sorry. So I'll start again. So I'm coming to the text icon. I'm going to left click once on the page to bring up the text box, and I'm just going to type a capital letter H and hit enter on the keyboard. And the font that I'm using is called Brussels. And it's a Canvas Workspace font. But if use any font you like on your computer, this is just the one I'm using in the hope that you should all have this font, because as I say, it's a Canvas Workspace font. So now, yeah, Victoria, I have started again. That's all right, Darren, don't worry, I'm on it, I've done it. I'm going to come to the text icon again. I'm going to left click once on the page, and this time I'm going to type a capital letter I and hit enter on the keyboard. I'm just going to drag it out so you can see it. But this time with the I, I'm going to go and find the font that's called Janda Flower Doodles. So I'm just going to scroll down through all my fonts, and it's here after my ITF and before the next one. It doesn't say Janda flowers, or at least it doesn't on mine. It just looks like a big row of flowers. And the minute I hit enter to choose that font, it's changed my capital letter I to this design. Now, obviously this is big and I want to put it on this design, so I want to make it smaller. But if I make it smaller to say fit in proportion to fit within this letter, all these little bits here are not going to cut well at all because they're going to be too small. So I'm just going to bring it out in the hope and make it bigger in the hope that you can see it better. Leslie, no, you don't have to pay for the Dingbats. These are all free. I only ever used defont.com and I've never paid for anything yet. They're all free. They all have a license agreement on them, and it tells you when you, above where it says download for a particular font, it'll tell you it's free for personal use or it's free for personal and business, that kind of thing, whatever, you know, the copyright information is with it there. Okay, so I want to get rid of these bits here and these tiny little bits here. So with it selected, I'm going to right click and I'm going to look for ungroup, and there's no ungroup option. So that means that I cannot ungroup this and take it apart to get rid of the bits I don't want. So the next option that I would normally look at would be to see if I could divide the design up. So with it selected, I'm on the Edit tab and I'm going to come down to Process Overlap and I'm going to find Divide, which is the second one along. And I'm going to hit the divide and nothing's happened. Now, if this was able to be divided by the software, all these elements would have a box around them, and there'd be a box around the outside and there'd be boxes around all these elements. So this design, I'm not able to ungroup and I'm not able to divide. But I want to use it, and I want to use it in sections, so I need to be able to break it apart. Now, I've tried all sorts. I have been playing with this particular letter on and off for a couple of days, and I've not been able to break it apart. So the only way I found to make it work for me was with this selected, still on the editing tab, come down to the bottom and come to offset. I'm going to use the smallest offset I can, which is 0.04. I'm going to say outward. I'm going to leave the corner type on round. I'm not touching anything. These are the defaults. And normally, this box at the bottom under option that says create an offset line only around the outer edge is normally ticked by default. I'm going to untick it because I want an offset not only around the outside of this flower shape, but I want it on the inside sections as well. So I want it to pick up all these sections as well. So that's why I've unticked this here. I tried convert to shapes and it didn't work, Alan. I tried welding it, that didn't work. I tried divide, I tried remove process overlap, I tried convert to shapes, and on this particular one, nothing would work. So this was the only way I found to make this work. So just going back, I'm going 0.04 spacing outward, leave the corner type on round, leave select original line as is. I'm not bothered about whether the original stays or goes away. And I'm going to untick this box at the bottom. And now I'm going to say OK. So now it's given me an outline, which if I drag away, so this should be the original. If I right click, I can see I've got no ungroup option. So I know that's my original. So I'm going to hit delete and get rid of that. And this is my 0.04 outset. And it doesn't matter that I've made a slight outset of it because I'm going to make it smaller anyway. Leslie, I am making a copy through the back door. Perfect way of putting it. Thank you. So now, if with this selected, this is the copy, remember, if I right click, I now have an ungroup option. So if I select that, you can now see that all these extra blue boxes have appeared. And that means that this design now is in elements. And that's what I need. So the first thing I'm going to do is come up to the top to the magnifying glass. And I'm going to zoom in on this leaf here. Then I'm going to come back and select the arrowhead to deselect the magnifying glass. And what I'm going to do now is left click, and I can see it's putting a box around everything, so I'm going to right click, arrange and send to back, and then left click to deselect. And I just want to, in fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to come to the layers panel, and you can see all the bits that make up this design, and I'm going to hide the big shape. So just use the eye and turn that off. And then I can now grab all these bits that I don't want and hit delete. I'm just going to come back to the main shape in my layers panel and put the eye back on to bring it in. And then I'm just going to come back to 45% so you can see what I've done. So can you see now that in the leaf all them bits have gone? Because remember, when I make this smaller, those bits would just literally cut into your mat and make a right old mess. So now I want to get rid of these little bits here. Can you see there's like a little teardrop in the middle of each of these three sections? So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to left click and see if I can grab it, and it keeps grabbing the whole design. So I'm going to hide this main section in my layers panel by clicking the eye. Now I'm just going to try and grab these little bits in the middle and hit delete. So can you see what I'm doing? I'm left clicking on them until they get a blue bounding box around them, and I'm hitting delete on my keyboard. And again with this one. And if you can't get them, use the magnifying glass and zoom in like I did. But remember to deselect your magnifying glass by clicking in the arrowhead, and then you can usually get hold of them easier and delete. So I'm going to come back to 45% so you can see. Right, so let me see, where are we up to? All right, you're all saying that's good, blown away. Very clever, very clever. Please tell me this is recorded so I can come back. Definitely, they're always recorded unless I have a problem, Victoria. Darren, yes, that's very clever. So, okay, so now if I click on this, this is one element, this is another, this is another, and this is another. And then I'm going to come back to my layers panel and put the outline back in. So that's the elements that I want now, okay? So I'm going to drag an imaginary box around all of these elements now. So there are 4 elements effectively. There's the circle, the 3 funny little shapes here, and then the main background. And I'm going to right click and make them a group. And then I'm just going to shrink it down by eye. I'm going to bring my letter H back in. Obviously, remember, you can do this with numbers, you can do it with any letter, you can do it with other shapes. I'm just choosing to make a decorative letter, and the thumbnail of the YouTube live video shows how I cut this in 2 shades of pink. So now I've got my letter H and I've got this design, and you're probably all thinking, is she mad? What's she doing? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to right click and make a duplicate, put the duplicate down there out of the way, and then I'm going to rotate this because I want to attach it to the side of this letter, but the reason I wanted my design in sections is because the outside area of this flower shape I'm going to weld to this letter, but these inner sections I'm going to subtract. So I'm going to select the flower, right click and ungroup so I get back to it all in bits, and I'm just going to left click anywhere to deselect. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to click on the leaf because that should choose just the outside area of this flower. I'm going to hold my shift key down on my keyboard, which is the upward facing arrow on its own, and mine is on the left hand side of my keyboard. But remember, I use a Mac, but yours should, I think, on a Windows keyboard be over on the left as well, and it's generally underneath your capital lock key. So I'm going to hold down the shift key, select the H. So the only 2 things I've got selected is the outer area of this flower, not the inner bits, and the letter H. And just with those 2 bits selected, I'm going to come to my Edit tab and I'm going to hit Weld. Okay. So if I move that away, you'll see those bits are still there, but the outside area has welded to the letter H. So I'm just going to undo that so it's back in place. And I'm going to do the same with this one on this side. Now you can do this all in one go, but just so I'm not confusing you, I'm doing it bit by bit. So I'm going to bring this one up, rotate it. I'll catch up with any comments in a minute. And I'm just going to bring this one over. So basically what I'm doing, I'm overlapping the leaf with part of the H and part of this flower section with the H. I'm going to ungroup this because this is all a group at the moment, remember. So I'm going to ungroup it, left click to click away, and I'm going to click on the leaf, which just gives me one big bounding box so I know I've just got the outside area. Hold the shift key down and hold the H, come back to my Edit tab and down to Weld and weld. Right, before I go any further, I'm going to try and catch up with what you're saying. Leslie's saying, Lynn, she is getting rid of the bits she can't cut because they are too small. That was what I did earlier, Leslie, correct. But now what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill this letter H in with colour because I think sometimes if I fill it with a colour, you can see it better. You can see what I'm doing. So all as you can see now is my letter H with this big design welded to it. But if I right click and go arrange and centre back, the other bits are still here. Okay, and these little bits, these 4 bits here and the 4 bits here need to be on top. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to select that, go to my layers tab, and I'm going to hide it. So you can see that these are here. And I'm going to fill them in with colour just so that you can see them better. I'll just make them black for now. And then I'm going to unhide my letter H. Okay, so can you see that? So I've got the H with the outside welded, and then I've got the little black bits on top. Now I'm going to select everything, and this time, can anybody guess what function I'm going to use while I have a quick drink? Subtract, correct. So I'm going to drag an imaginary box around everything. No, not group, Patty, subtract. No, Leslie, subtract. Because what I want to do, I want to punch these black sections out of this pink section. Yeah, you're all getting it now. So I'm going to select everything. I'm going to come back to the Edit tab. And then I'm going to come to Subtract, which is under Process Overlap. And it's the last icon on the right. And when I hit Subtract, that's now punched those sections out. Can you see? You can see through them. You can see the grey on the top of the mat through them. So this is two techniques. You may not always want to use it, but it's good to know how to use it. So I took a design which I broke apart one way or another. In this particular instance, I used offset to make a copy, and then I was able to ungroup. And then by using the outside section, after deleting all the bits I didn't need, I was able to weld the outside shape to this letter. And then the inner bits, I was able to subtract, in other words, punch them out. Yes, Darren, anything you want to subtract has to be on top. I've said this before, think of subtract as being like a punch. You know, you have a piece of card and you've got, say, a circle punch and you want to punch a circle out of the card. That's what subtract is basically. And to subtract, the bits that you want to subtract have to be on top of the element you're subtracting them from. So Victoria's saying, never done anything like this before and it's gorgeous. Oh, you can make such amazing things with things like this, Victoria. You can make, you know, personalised home decor. You could, you know, use a baby initial, and, you know, if somebody's having a baby, use their initial and, you know, weld things and subtract things from it. If somebody's, you know, a cat lover, you know, weld a cat shape to the outside or something. There's so many possibilities. Susan is saying, love it. Bernice is saying, will you leave the bigger bit? Why wasn't it punched out when you subtracted the rest of the flowers? Because the bigger bit, the pink bit, was all one welded element, and the black bits were on top of the pink bit. If there had been other elements on top and had subtracted, they would have subtracted as well. But basically there was only these 4 elements here and these 4 elements here that were placed on top of this big pink section, and that's why they were punched out. No, the big leaf was already welded because I did it in 2 steps, Bernice. I welded the outside shape and then I subtracted the inner sections. Right, Caroline's saying, so Leslie's saying, I have to have laptop and tablet out together and try this tomorrow. Caroline is saying, can you make it now into a card by duplicating and creating a bat? Yes, you could. Definitely could. I'm going to put a matting layer on it in a minute. I'm going to show you that, but I'm going to put some other shapes in it, another flower in it in a minute. So Alan's saying, I tried something similar with, oh, I am not trying to bend border around a curve. Not sure what you mean there, Alan. Victoria's saying the brain is in overdrive now. Brilliant. Tracy's saying thanks. Had a great time. Must get some sleep. It's now 3:45. Catch you later. Oh, Tracy, yes, go. Catch it on repeat. Right, so now I'm going to come back to the text icon and I'm going to select it and left click on my page. And I told you at the beginning we were using the letter I and the letter K. So this flower dingbat was from a capital letter I. This time I'm going to type a capital letter K and hit enter. And because I've still got the Janda Flower Doodles font selected, that has now brought me this flower. In fact, let me move that out of the way for a minute and bring the flower up here. So again, with this flower now, I'm going to right click, and again, I've got no ungroup option. So I'm going to come down on the edit tab, process overlap, and come to divide and see if it will divide. And this one does. You can see it's got blue boxes now around all the individual elements. So when I left click away, these shapes now are all individual. Now I think I want to shrink this down to put it in here. And if I shrink this as it is, there's too many leaves. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this one and hit delete. And I'm going to delete every other one of the small shapes. And I'm just going to leave myself these big ones. Darren, if you go to my Apple Lover 53 YouTube channel, this is under the live playlist. So I'm going to come to the magnifying icon and just zoom in on the flower, and then I'm going to hit the arrowhead to deselect the magnifying glass. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this leaf and I'm just going to move it away from that centre circle, just to give it a little bit more room, because as I say, I'm going to shrink it down, and when you shrink it down things get smaller and they move closer together. So I'm just going to move those away from this circle. I'm just going to come back to 45% view. So now I'm going to select everything and right click and make it a group. And that's all I'm doing with that one because I want to shrink it down. So I'm going to select it. Again, I'm going to shrink it just by eye until I think it will fit somewhere within this letter. And then I can rotate it. And I think that one will look okay. Although I might make it a little bit smaller. Then with it selected, I'm going to duplicate it and I'm going to put the other one up here. So again now, this flower and this flower are on top of this big pink shape. So I'm going to select everything and again I'm going to subtract, and they should now punch out of that letter H. So that's what we've got now. So Charmaine is saying, so who needs die cutting machines with this technology? Darren is saying divide is the same as ungroup. Divide is more like break up, break apart. It's kind of ungroup, yes. So if you've not got an ungroup option, try divide. And if divide doesn't work, then you've got to resort to what I did originally, which was make an offset of it, and then you can ungroup your offset. Okay, so this is what I've got now. So what I'm going to do, I think this would be nice on the front of a card, or let's see, you could drag it out and you could drag it down and you could make a scrapbook page out of it, as long as it fits, you know, on your mat. there's that option. I'm just going to undo it. I made mine into a card. So let's see how big it is. So I'm going to shrink it down. I'm going to make it about 6 inches. Just under 6 inches. So now this is all one object. I'm going to come to the Edit tab. I'm going to come all the way down to the bottom to Offset. And I'm going to use a 0.08 offset. And I'm going to say Outward. And this time I'm going to tick the box at the bottom because I just want a matting layer to go around the whole of the outside. So when I say OK, now if I drag this away and fill this with another colour in the hope that you can see it better, and I'm going to send this to the back, so you can either come to the Layers tab and drag it down and it goes to the back, or you can right click and send it to the back. Now if I select both and go to Edit and centre them on the horizontal and vertical, you can now see when I zoom in that I've got a nice matting layer. Right, where are we up to? So Mandy G's saying looks lovely, great technique. Karen Lazenby's saying very clever. Victoria's saying amazing what you just did. Victoria, foam board for wall letters. Yeah, you should be able to cut foam board, I think, with a ScanNCut, depending on how thick it is. Some of it's quite thick though, isn't it? The SDX will cut up to 3mm, and that's the deepest I think you can go. So you'd have to find something else. Alternatively, cut several layers and glue them all together. That will make it thicker. Personalise a birthday card, exactly. My daughter's obviously called Hannah, and I made the one that's in the thumbnail for this video, I put on the front of a card. I mean, it's not a birthday till the end of June, but I may just give it, I've bought her a little gift. She doesn't know that's for before a birthday, so I may just give her this card with the little gift that will hopefully be here at weekend. Well, actually, hoping she's not going to watch this video on record, else I've just blown the secret. Right, Barbara's saying, how do you know it's not too small for the detail cutout? Because I did a test cut basically, and when I used this design and cut it at about 5.5 inches, Barbara, I knew it cut okay. I wouldn't cut something like this any smaller. I certainly wouldn't cut something like this and put it on a UK A6 card, or in the US I think you call it an A2 card, because the cutouts, you know, are quite detailed. Something like this I think is more for using on bigger cards, so maybe a 5x7 card or a 6x6 card, or maybe use it on an 8x8 card, you know, to make that wow factor kind of card, or home decor. But just think, you know, you could do this if it was somebody's wedding anniversary. You know, you could do the letter, you could, you know, weld 2 letters together of their names and then weld things like this on it and subtract from it. Or you could do it if it was a special birthday, you know, a 25 or a 40th anniversary or something like that. I'm kind of just showing you the techniques really. You may not ever use this design, but you may think, well, actually I could use that another way. So I'm just kind of showing you the weld and subtract techniques. Right, so let me catch up with what you're saying. Victoria's saying gets better and better. Lisa's saying I got it. Great, Lisa, well done. Tony's saying, wow, I followed along and it's amazing. Thank you, Ashley. Oh, brilliant. Tony, so you've just done it now? Oh, amazing. I don't know why Lynn's going, oops, have I missed something? Barbara's saying, oh, got you, thanks. Mandy G, I just pulled up a dingbat in the shape of a dog, but it appears to have double lines going around the outside. Any suggestions on how to get rid of one of the lines? Again, either have a look in the dingbats and see if there's the same dog that's a solid design, because this flower in Janda is like an outline as well. There's a solid version and an outline. Try ungrouping it, try dividing it. If neither of those work, try making the copy of it like I showed you at the beginning of this video. 8x8 shadow box would be perfect. Yes, and in vinyl. As I say, I just show you the techniques, and then you just do what you think with it. Yeah, Victoria's saying go through the steps and it's basically subtracting. Yeah, that's fine. If you go back to the beginning, you should be able to work it out. Left-handed crafter saying, hi, I have a question about cutting. I have a CM350 and wonder how cutting this out would like, and at what size. It doesn't matter what machine you've got, left-handed crafter, whether it's a 350 or a UK 600 or a 900 or any of the DX models or the SDX models. They all basically cut the same. The DX and the SDX have the auto blade technology, so the blade just sets itself. You just have to work out what blade setting you use for what you're going to be cutting it in. But as I've just said, I wouldn't take it any smaller than 5.5 by 5.5. So anything bigger than that, I think this particular design would cut fine. But in that Janda flower doodles, there are lots of flower shapes. Just have a play with it. Just bring a shape onto your mat and try welding things to it and subtracting. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. So Mandy G saying, okay, I'll keep trying. What is that? The dog. Okay. Bernadette saying, I'm excited to get started. Okay, so right, what you're saying. So Leslie's saying, how would you download? Would you have to send mats separately? Right, Leslie, I'll show you how I did mine. I'm just going to come back to 45%. I took the 2 layers apart and I put them on my mat like this. And then because I'm using the computer-based version, you go to the top of the screen and go to File, and you either export it as an FCM and download it, say, onto your desktop so you know where to find it, and then drag it on a USB stick, or if you've got Wi-Fi, send it over wirelessly. And the way I did mine, I actually rotated once I'd got it on the mat. So I put a piece of 6 by the length. So what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I probably used 6 by 8. And I did the same with this. And on my mat, I put 2 pieces of card. So I put a piece of pale pink that was 6 inches by 8 and a dark pink which was 6 inches by 8, and I cut it all at once. I used the background scan feature and cut both parts together. Does that help, Leslie? But yes, I would save both elements on one mat. So has anybody got any questions? Just excuse me having my drink again. Okay, so Leslie's okay. Yeah, so Leslie's saying, I find each mat downloaded on a USB takes up a lot of memory. Yeah, I would save everything onto one mat. I always do that no matter how many parts there are to a design. I always save them on one mat. And also what you've got to remember is when you then put this on your machine, if you then save it into the machine's memory, your machine saves in like mats worth at a time. So the more you've got on one mat, the less memory you're using, if that makes sense. If you put this element on one mat and save it on your ScanNCut machine, and then put this element on another mat and save it on your machine, you've wasted 2 mats worth of memory. Does that make sense? So I always put everything on one mat, and then when I get it to the machine, I just delete the bits that I don't want and cut the bit that's remaining. And then once it's cut, I hit the home button, I call up the file again, and I delete the bit I've just cut and cut the next section. Right, I'm trying to catch up with... right, so Thea, Dawn is saying fantastic, thank you. Thea's saying very easy to understand, love this idea, thank you Ashley, you're welcome Thea. Charmaine is saying I thoroughly enjoyed that, thank you, I can't wait for craft shops to reopen so I can buy card. Oh no Charmaine, are you still struggling to get supplies? Sorry, I joined late. Where are you pulling the designs from, e.g. the flower? Okay, Bernice, it's all recorded, and I did put a document up at the beginning part of the record that shows you what font I'm using and where I got the Dingbat font for the flowers and everything. It's all in the document at the beginning of the recording. Victoria is saying new member welcome. Oh, hi, thank you. Right, Caroline, thanks Ashley for the blessings. You're so generous. You're welcome, Caroline. It's lovely that you're all here. Tony's saying thank you, Ashley. I need to make a birthday card for my husband, and we'll try something like this. But try and find a tools in the when you go to DeFont, there's a Dingbat section. This particular one is under, I think it's nature, but there's all sorts. But again, in DeFont you can do a search, but sometimes it's a case of literally just clicking on Dingbats and trawling through them. You know, that can take you a week. But, you know, that's just, you know, how it is sometimes. Right, Victoria's saying, I just joined. The price of one card was covered in this class. This was wonderful. Thank you for your time and your design expertise. You are opening my doors to tons of fun. Oh, thank you. What do you mean, Victoria? Oh, have you just joined my... Have you joined my YouTube community? Is that what you mean? If you have, thank you. Leslie's saying, right, I thought that, so can you download mats on top of each other? Leslie, I'm not sure what you mean by on top of each other. This would be one mat that I would send to the machine with both sections in it. Charmaine lives in South Africa. Yeah, I know you were struggling, weren't you, Charmaine? Right, so Barbara's saying, my hubby will get one of these too for his June birthday. He'd better be impressed. Barbara, if he's not impressed, then I need to have a serious word with him. He will be. These type of things, when you do things like, for years I've made like number-shaped cards and letter-shaped cards, and they always stand out on the mantelpiece. Anything like this that's personalised So I'm sure your husband will definitely love it. And don't forget, you know, you don't have to stop here. You could add another layer on. So whereas I've got this one on top of here, you could do another offset of this one. Let's do another offset. Let's do another 0.08 and say OK. And then let's change that to a darker colour. And then again, let's go to the Layers tab and we'll pull that one to the bottom. So, you know, we can build up layers. You know, it just doesn't have to be 1 or 2 layers. And again, if I zoom in for you, look at that. You could go on and on and on. Right, Lynn's saying, I had problems today when cutting, not lining up on a rectangle at the bottom. I did a scan positioning adjustment. It didn't work. It was about 3 milli out. I ended up having to do it 4 times. Okay, what machine have you got, Lynn? I can't remember. So you've done the blade alignment, is that what you mean? Leslie's saying, I mean mats for matting and layering. Yeah, you can do. Is that what you meant, Leslie? Sorry, I think I've probably just answered your question, even though I wasn't sure what you were actually asking. So I've got 3 layers here. Yeah. So Edna's saying, came in late, we'll watch on replay. Don't worry, Edna, it'll be recorded. Once I end this live, it takes a couple of hours for it to render up to YouTube, but then you should be able to watch it back. So don't worry about it. So Bernice is saying, oh, okay, thank you, very well taught, learnt a lot. Great, Bernice, I'm glad you have. Caroline is saying, Ashley, I've never added fonts to my MacBook. Is there instructions somewhere? I don't think there is, but on a MacBook, that's a laptop, isn't it? So it's just like my Mac. Go to the font, find the font that you want, click download. It will drop into your downloads folder on your MacBook, and then on a Mac, they're automatically unzipped when they download. So all you need to do is go to the downloads folder, find the folder, double click on it, and inside it there'll be the font, and you're looking for the extension TTF, True Type Font. They're usually OTF or TTF. You don't normally get both in the folder, you'll get one or the other. So then you just double click on it, and again, it will install it into your font book on your MacBook. Right, Alan's saying, can you not get things like Amazon and eBay and website orders? Is that for Charmaine? I think she can, but I think it's so expensive, Alan, because I think we had this conversation a few weeks ago. Right, so Barbara's saying, you are so kind and talented. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Barbara. Learned so much again. Going now. See you all Sunday. Yeah, see you, Alan. Take care. Right, what's Leslie saying? Can you put the layers on top of each other on the mat to download onto a USB to save space? Leslie, it doesn't matter whether they're on top of each other or whether they're all spaced out on the mat. As far as I'm aware, it will only save that amount of memory. But yes, don't group them like these are all separate, but they're all on top of each other. Just save them onto your USB stick and you should be fine. Right, Nancy's saying, rats, just stumbled across this and we'll have to watch the entire presentation later, but hello from Maryland, USA. Well, hello, Nancy. Caroline's saying thank you. Charmaine's saying, yeah, Alan, unfortunately, internet shopping is not huge, and if you do find a place, then the postage is, yeah, I remember you saying postage was expensive, Charmaine. Yeah, I did ask makers though, Charmaine, for you, and they will post to South Africa. But again, you'd need to message them and ask them if there was, you know, if there's anything in particular that you're looking for. They will tell you what the postage is. and you can see whether it's worth doing it or not. But they do post worldwide, and I did particularly ask them a couple of weeks ago, but I completely forgot to mention it in, one of the Sundays or Wednesdays. But yeah, she's saying it makes you more creative because you have to make do. That's, yeah. Right, so Nancy's saying, love this H, can't wait to learn what you have been doing. Yeah, don't worry, Nancy, it's all recorded, hopefully. So barring any problems, once I end the live stream, it'll take a couple of hours to render and then it'll go up. Right, has anybody got any other questions before we wind up? And I'd just like to say thank you, because I can see that there are 49 people still on here. And I did look earlier and I saw 50, but I forgot to look at the beginning. So I don't know how many we had in total. But for 49 of you to still be here spending your time with me, that's lovely. Thank you. I'm going to have a quick drink because I'm getting a bit of a sore throat again. Tony's saying, thank you ever so much, Ashley. I have learned so much from you in the few weeks I've had my SDX. You are amazing. Oh, thank you. How are you enjoying your SDX, Tony? I love mine. Barbara's saying, bye for now. See you Sunday. Keep safe, everybody. Yes, same to you, Barbara. Leslie's saying, thank you, Ashley. Got to go. Take care of yourself. Yeah, no worries. Don't worry. That's fine. I'm just waiting to see if anybody has got any questions. If you can see a thumbs up button, don't forget to hit it for me, please. Victoria's saying, we thank you. Well, I thank you for being here. Lynn Gaskell, you're such a fab teacher. Love watching your lives. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Lynn. Tony is saying, loving it more than I thought I would. Oh, good. Caroline's saying, hope your headache goes away totally. I think it's because I keep going out in the sun, I think, walking around a golf course with Hannah. And I had literally just sat there for an hour tonight watching a practice and just instantly got a headache. But I'll be fine. Victoria's saying, goodbye from USA. Got to go cut something. Okay, well done. Thea's saying, thank you. See you Sunday. All right, well, there doesn't appear to be any questions. Lynn's saying bye for now. So I'm going to say bye for now. I'm going to end the recording. As I say, hopefully it will all be recorded and it will be up on the channel later. So for anybody that came in late, if you go to my YouTube channel, go to the playlist and look for the live playlist. And all the Sunday and Wednesday night lives I'm doing are all in one playlist called Live. So they're all easy to find. Thanks, Patty. Right, I'm going to go then because I can't see any questions popping up. So if there is anything, leave me a comment under the video later and I will get back to you. But there doesn't appear to be any comments now. So I'm going to end this and I'll say take care, everybody, and I'll see you all on Sunday. Bye for now.